I know we're live. 1 second. There we go, there it is. Right, so, mic is working, yes. I've also noticed that, so, yes, welcome to a bit of a tired live stream. And by that I mean that it's not the live stream that's tired, but rather I'm a bit tired. Oh, sorry, just fell asleep there. 1 second. Right, so, let's read chat. Hello and welcome to this Milton Valley live stream. Milton Valley Railroad under construction. Right, so, hello Mr. W, long time no wait, that's not right. Yes, hello Kangafango. And hello Shard Eyes. Welcome everyone to the start of yet another live stream. Yes. Also, hello Mr. W. Welcome. And mic is working. We can hear you. Can. Yes. Hehe. I'm glad Streamlabs isn't muted this time. Yeah. Shall even when you're tired, you're making jokes. No, especially when I'm tired. It's to hide the tiredness because the jokes are easy. Clever commentary is not. Hey. Can? Now? Starts music. What is it like? Dun da 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 dun dun da 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 dun dun. Or is that a different thing I'm thinking of? Right. I mean, if anybody wants to join voice chat, feel free to do so. Feel free to do so. And by free, I mean I'm not going to charge you for it. So yes, Trainz is already running, as you can probably tell by the lag and the sound in the background. So let's sweat over to it. And I do mean switch, so schwitz, so sweat, yes. So here we are. This is the place where we were last working, in this little area. Got the scarecrow. It scares the crows. So yes. The industry has not been set up yet, because I want to do that when I've got a name for the stuff. Hello there, in voice chat. Yep, that one. Actually, Schwitz equals German for to sweat. Yes. And Schwitz sounds similar to switch, so that's why I made the joke. Hello! I can't hear you. If you're talking in Discord, Mr. W, I can't hear you, unfortunately. Nope, still not. Still can't hear you, unfortunately. Maybe the issue is with your mic? Like maybe you've got your mic turned down or something like that? Schwitzen, yep. I can hear you now. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me too? Now I can't anymore. Should I maybe disconnect and reconnect voice chat because of Trainz?
1, 2.
Yay, now I can hear you. 1, 2, 1, 2.
1, 2.
Can you also hear me? Probably can't, actually. 1 second. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Disregard the, never mind. I can hear you fine. I can't hear you, though. At this point. Eh? Disregard the, never mind. Yes. Strange, I know. I still can't hear you. This is curious. Just restarting it. Give me a mo. Good. I'm giving you one. Okay, so
2 and 2.
I can hear you. Hello.
There we go. Flipping heck.
There we go.
Good.
Right. So, how have you been these last few hours?
Yeah, I've been fine.
Good.
I really did enjoy the role play session.
Oh, that makes me happy to hear. Right. So, now the roleplay continues because we're building a Trainz route.
Yes. So what's on the schedule for today?
Milton
In
Valley
terms of
Railroad.
building, in terms of building.
I'm going to work on the area on the opposite side of this line here going over there. So, we've just added the baseballs here. And I want a bit of forest.
Oh, yes.
Just to make a little bit of to make it a bit more interesting on this side. Yes.
At
So,
the moment, there's nothing but a void.
yes. Although a void can be comforting. Not often, but it can be.
Yeah,
right.
I suppose so.
Right. So. Let's see. Is this? No, I need to make it one wider. One wider. There we go. I also need to work on this area still. Right. You know, the Milton Valley Railroad is quite big already, I think.
It's getting there.
Yes. When I've made the city, then I'll also be able to put in mileposts, because the way mileposts work is they're measuring the distance to some landmark, a major landmark, which usually is the headquarters of the railroad or railway, or the biggest yard or city in that part of the network. So in this, I'm going to make it to be the terminus in the city, the passenger terminus. So the miles are going to be measured from there, which is also convenient because that is at the one end of the route. So it's going to be easy to calculate the size of the route. Oh, I've just realized I need to actually replace part of this forest with a less dense one. Yay, we got there in the end. Oh, the stream's over already? Oh, I had no idea. The time just must have flown by. Sorry. Let me quickly just finish this forest and then I'll end it. Right.
Is this a 2-hour one? Well, yeah,
Yes.
I only going to 2 hour. But is this one where you do? Is this a 2-gamer one or just a?
Nope, just a one-gamer one. Well, actually, depends. Do you count yourself as a gamer?
Oh yeah.
Well, then it's a 2-gamer one. Haha.
Oh dear.
Well, I can place some if you want.
I don't mind it. It just seems to have been a while since I've seen you do RCT3. Yeah.
Strange. I've done it on Thursday.
But then again, a lot of the time I do have to leave at 10. So.
Although no, those streams do end at 10 because on Thursday they start at 8, and then Trainz Sim.
Yeah, of course you've. Of course, you've recently moved the Monday one back an hour, haven't you?
Well, if I had a Monday one, then yes. The Tuesday one, yes, I have.
Oh, a Tuesday one, rather,
Yeah.
my bad.
I have moved it so that it's also from... I've moved it, yeah, so it's also from 8 to 10. Right, so this already looks okay, but I need some change in elevation here. I grab the magical book and chant the following words. Twitch.tv/Jared_Dice. I open the magical book. What do I see? You see me. What did you expect? No, don't end. XD. Dear, yes. Hello. Oh, hello, DT. Chenny11, if that is indeed how you pronounce your name. If not, please... Well, if that is how to say that name, please tell me so that I can try to remember it, so that it's spelled like that. If I'm mistaken, please correct me. Hello, welcome.
If that is indeed your name.
Mm-hmm. Hehehe. Shadace, the city won't be done off stream, right? Well, I was you know how the entire route is being made on stream? Well, I was thinking that because of in the city there are so many buildings, so much small stuff that if I did it on stream, never get done anywhere. So I thought I would make the city off stream, and that is completely not true. Of course, I'm gonna make the city on stream. Yes. I just wanted to see how convincing I could sound.
I'm thinking that what's making the route look a bit artificial is the lack of stuff in the distance.
Yeah, well, stuff will be added in the distance, as well when I've made the stuff that's near. But that is a very good observation.
In the distance, yeah.
Right. This is not ideal when it's lagging, but this should be doable. Okay. How does that look? That looks okay, I think. Maybe bring the hill a bit closer to the tracks. Yeah, that looks better. Also a bit over here. Right. Okay. Like, for example, over here, all the way over there. All the way over here. If I had shadows, it would look much better, of course. But here, I have got stuff in the distance. I've got the little woods there, I've got fields, I've got stuff over there, woods over there. And yes, this already looks much more realistic. With shadows, obviously, it will add a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm just keeping them off for performance reasons at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes. Right, so this is what it looks like from geographic... Well, no. Cartography satellite, if that makes sense. What is the...
cartographic?
Cartographic. That's probably it.
Sounds a bit off, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Cartography of logical? No, that doesn't sound right.
Too many syllables.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not as many as in supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh yeah. How many syllables is that?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Hang on. Supercalifragilistic expialidocious. That's, hang on, so I've done 10. That's 19 syllables.
Well, although it's nothing compared to some German words you can make, because in German, you can put words together, and if it forms a name, like a descriptive name, then you can turn it all into one word. So, for example, the other example from a couple of months ago, I think now, is the high-speed rail. So the high-speed rail grinding train, in German, you can call Hochgeschwindigkeitsschienenschleifzug, and that's all one word.
Oh my god. Oh my.
It is a fun language, even though a lot of the time it doesn't make sense. Like English.
Isn't there like a stereotype that it sounds aggressive?
Yeah, it is. It's not a stereotype. It's not a stereotype. It is a. I think that it's a fact. German has a lot of sharp, aggressive sounds in it, like a lot of and x sounds, which inherently sound aggressive, I think. Whereas English is much more smooth, much more. Smooth, I guess is the best word for it.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. I look at the camera in surprise. Sorry, wrong number. Yeah, it is. Right. Nice. Shadows. Quite convincing, but I didn't believe it for an instant. Yes, because you know that I will, of course, stream it because that's the thing. But did it sound convincing? Like the way I said it? About me doing the city off stream.
I believed it, if that's any consolation.
It is.
Because this is going to take a long time.
What, the city?
The route in general.
Oh, it is, yes. Although, for some reason, I think that I'm more productive when in Trainz, at least for these streams. In these streams, when I feel tired, because the building is kind of going on in the background. Because it's almost second nature because I've been doing so much of it. And if I'm a bit tired, then I don't really think that much about topics and complicated stuff, except when the things that I think about make me feel more awake. Like, for example, when I was talking about the Doctor Who episode last time, that made me feel really awake.
Oh, yeah.
Suddenly. But yeah, if I'm just kind of going along, then that's nice, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks, though. Shadows. Cartographical satellite? Maybe.
Cartographical, that might work.
Cartographic, yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Like...
I think it's 2 syllables at the end of that.
That, by the way, that is the word. That is Hochgeschwindigkeitsschienenschleifzug. That word.
It sounds like it has roughly the same amount of syllables.
There is an extended version of that as well. Let me see if I can find it. It's because it was a YouTube video that I originally got it from. Hochgeschwindigkeitsschienenschleifzug. Like, hopefully it won't play. Hopefully it won't stop playing. There we go. So. There we go. Here are some much longer ones. Like, for example, with this comment here, they've extended it to Ersatzhochgeschwindigkeitsschienenschleifzug Wartungsaufsichtsbehördenpost Katzenkratzputzmittels. No, that's not right. That has nothing to do with trains. Why didn't they do that? No, this one's the one. No, this one. Hochgeschwindigkeitsschienenschleifzug Wartungsfachangestellten-Dienstaufsichtsbehörde. This one.
Okay.
Which means high-speed rail grinding train. High-speed rail grinding tool maintenance speciality Fachangestellte Specialist Dienst, what is Dienst? Duty Intendant Behörde, the thing that what does Behörde mean? I can't think of the name. I'm a bit tired. Behörde is translated authority, of course. Authority. So that all one word. Right. Those kind of things you can actually do in German. And yes, you can separate those words out if you want to. But that is a legal word. It is a word that the language works in, which is very interesting.
A language that, a word that the language accepts. That reminds me, I think there's actually a think there's a word in Finnish which translates to.
Hey, I've got a joke.
It translates.
One second. I've got a joke.
Oh.
Can you? Okay, don't say anything for 5 seconds. Don't say anything for 5 seconds. So, are you gonna finish that sentence?
I hate you.
I don't believe that.
But I think it's something along the lines of desire to wander aimlessly. It's like the desire to aimlessly wander around naked, I think.
Ah, yes, a desire which I can relate to. Right. Okay. Do you think this
There
little...
was someone who
No, continue.
Go on.
Continue.
There was someone who on YouTube did a thing. You know about not eight digit displays. The things that you get on microwaves and stuff. It displays a number in multiple lines.
Oh, do you mean
seven segments? Seven segments.
Yeah.
Someone did that, and it was, what's the longest English word you can make using a 7-segment display? So allowing and disallowing allowing and disallowing certain letters.
Do you know what it was?
And I think the longest, the longest was the abbreviation. The longest was it's abbreviated to DDT, and I think it's an insect repellent. And the ones and taken out, and if you took out I and O, which are quote numbers with aspirations, it's super transcendentness.
Huh.
I think I've actually said before in the stream, just when I had just not when I had an account.
Then you couldn't have, because if you didn't have an account, then you couldn't have typed anything in chat.
Typed. Not when before I used VC.
Oh, voice chat, yes. Oh right, I think you did. Oh right, I remember transcendence. Transcendence. Yeah, I remember that word.
Super transcendentness. Super transcendentness was the word.
Ah. Do you feel...
Yeah, what were you saying?
I was asking whether I should make this field a pasture or agriculture, but I've decided on a little pasture because there's a lot of agriculture around here, all of these sugarcane fields. So I think having a little pasture here will bring more variety.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read chat, let's read some of chat. Yes, snap, and Donaudampfschifffahrtsgesellschaft, which means Donau is the name of a river, Dampfschiff means steamship, Fahrtsgesellschaft means travel agency.
Okay, so a travel agency that works solely via a steamboat on a river.
Yes, or a travel well, not necessarily. Actually, Fahrtsgesellschaft could also be a like a club or a community around a thing. So that could also be its meaning. There are a lot of these words where it depends on how you take it, the meaning changes a bit. I said yes, it did. So yes, it did. Oh. Alright, yes it did. I just asked for new viewers so that they know. Yeah, true.
If you want me to read chat so you can keep working on that, I don't mind.
That's okay. I may call upon your help later when a lot of chat has bunched up, but if there's a little bit, then it's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, well, sure. You're welcome.
I don't.
Right. Nice. Service. Dienst. Authority. Behörde. Yes. Of course, that joke. On a 7-segment display, 2 and Z would look the same, right? Same
Yeah.
with A and R, and X wouldn't work at all.
No. You need diagonals.
You did say it before, I think so. Pretty sure. What you said is right. Will I be bunched up? That depends entirely on how much you write.
Don't encourage him.
Well, that depends on whether you think that the prospect of being bunched up is something that is encouraging.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, I'll paint a little bit and then I'll save. Just so that it doesn't crash or freeze.
How often does it crash?
It depends on what I do. If I just normally use it like this, rarely. But in Tiers 19 Service Pack 2, which is the latest update, which is the one I'm using, there are some cases where it freezes for a few minutes if you save in certain situations.
Okay.
Like, for example, for example, if you've only changed stuff on the root layer, but you save session and root, then it freezes. Or if you do something, and then you undo it, and then so if you save, make a change, undo the change, and then save, so that actually nothing has changed, but the game thinks there's stuff to save, then it can crash. But yeah, you kind of get a hang for how to treat it and when to save and when not to save. So yeah, I'd say it's fine.
So if you tried to save twice in a row without changing anything, that might make it crash.
It might. I generally don't do that because it might make it crash. But so I don't know. It may do it, it may not do it, it may sometimes do it. Those are all viable options. The latter has a great view. Right.
Yeah. Cheney asks if your track's on the root layer.
Yes, my tracks are on the root layer. If I go over to the layers, if I turn off the root layer, you can see that the stuff disappears. The only reason why this is still here is because this is on the temp locked layer. This is a layer I have so that I can work around certain objects with large bounding boxes, so I don't accidentally move it around, but this is on a root layer. So yes, I am editing the session, but I'm only editing on the root layer. I've got the session layer locked down here, as you can see, if you can see that on stream. Yes. Also, thanks for reading that out. Right.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Just thought of something. How am I going to get road access to this loading point? I could change this bit and make the road go alongside the tracks here, but I don't really want to do that. So I might bring a road past here and then just have the access point there, because there is actually this road going down that way. So I could... Actually, that might look quite good. If I make a little intersection here. That doesn't look good. Like this. I might need to make this into a proper intersection later. Because at the moment the splines are just kind of clipping into each other. Why does that do that? There, like that. Right. So just making this road go along here, just along the canal. Right, and then if I make this carry on along here, and then maybe along the edge of this little woodland, that might look quite good. And then just have it carry off this way. Carry what? I have no idea. Right. Okay, I may need to straighten a few of these bits of road. Trainz, maybe it would be better if the road was a dirt one. There will be a connecting road, but I want one that has a bit of traffic, at least when traffic works again properly. The one branching off, if you're continuing it, never mind. It's fine after all. Haha, and it's good. Right, so just sort of like that. This carries along down here, that should be fine. I'll straighten this one.
Cheney says that he ends up building his 2 routes on the session layer.
Yeah, that is a thing that can happen quite often, which is that is the reason why I always lock the session layer. Whenever I go into... Okay, so what I do, because some signals, the settings are only saved in the session layer, like the paths, and because of some other reasons as well, I always edit the default session of the route. But whenever I go in, I go to the layers, and I make sure to lock the sessions layer and then select the root layer, which means that if I accidentally select the session layer like this, and then I try to place an object, like for example the road down here, you see it comes up with an error saying currently selected layer session layer is locked or hidden. Do I want to unlock and show this layer? Cancel. Then I can go over and select the correct layer. What I also do is if I have multiple layers, like for example if I have a layer for catenary, one for people for example, and one for lighting, then whichever layer I'm currently working on, I always lock the others. Yeah, and whenever I exit the route, I always make sure to lock every layer except for the root layer, so that if it ends up selecting another layer, I just get that message again. These are techniques which you kind of evolve yourself as you're working in Trainz, because, well, you kind of have to do stuff properly to save yourself time.
Yeah.
Right. Let me just quickly make a little dirt road. Goes from here towards this loading area. Just kind of snakes its way up here. That should be fine. Maybe not that far up. Well, nah, this should be fine. Right. I'll need to place some sort of building here so that it makes sense. There's a curve in this. But what I actually wanted to do is place some animals in this pasture and put grass there.
Oh.
Let's do the grass first. Grass, where are you? Oh, there you are. Right. Which spline do I want? I want the smaller one. Is that the smaller one or is that the bigger one? Sometimes it's really difficult to tell. That is the bigger one. I need this one. That is the smaller one. So, let me read. Well, I don't know how layer before. Oh, you didn't know how layers worked before. Ah, well, basically...
Kango's just... I'll let you answer that first.
Yes,
because Kango's just put something on there.
Yeah, so basically layers work just the same as in Photoshop or GIMP or Pixelmator or anything like that, where if a layer is selected, you can place objects on that layer. If you turn the layer off, the objects won't be there. So, for example, if I place a tree, or let's do this gate. This gate is currently on the root layer. If you click on the question mark, the properties tool, click on the object. This works for tracks, also splines, tracks and objects. You can see up here, it says layer, root layer. If you click here, you can put it onto a different layer. And also there are bound layers. So the way bound layers work is if you have a session, if you're making a session, and there's an object that's placed on the root layer, which means it's in every single session. It's on the root itself. Doesn't matter in what set, it's always there. But if in a specific session you don't want to have that object there, you can go into the session, make a new session layer, and then change the object's bound layer to that layer. That means that that object, for the purposes of this session, will act as though it is on that layer, not on the root layer anymore, or whatever layer it was on before. Which means that if you then hide that new layer, it will hide that object, but only in that session, even though it's on the root layer. It can be a bit difficult to wrap your mind around how layers work, but once you get it,
once you've got it,
once you get it, it's just so powerful of a tool. You can do so much with the layers in Trainz. Yes, I'm on the right layer.
I suppose it works like that in all, if not most, if not all, video games.
What do you mean?
Well, sometimes they can be difficult to get.
Oh, right. Yes.
But when you do get them,
yeah, that's true.
The way can go. Do you know if they've changed PogChamp again? No, of course it was just last week. No, I don't think they wouldn't have.
No, they do. They do change it. Actually, all right. It probably wouldn't.
Every week.
Let me read chat. So you wanted to have deer in the pasture, or was that just for the joke? Well, I don't. Maybe, because the deer actually, when they're in the pasture, they usually jumped over the fence. So let me see if I can place some. Well, I could place this deer. Would this be okay for you? This deer? The perfect response is, oh dear.
Yeah.
Right.
Kango says, that my round around Trainz layers, sounds gross.
No, it sounds gross, but it's not.
I think I'm right in saying that woodpeckers' tongues are so long that the only place they can store them is wrapped around their brain.
Well, actually, that is.
Which is all sorts.
It functions as a shock absorber, because the woodpecker strikes the wood so fast, so many times per second, that it would give itself a concussion. However, the tongue actually goes up behind the brain and then out in front again. So the tongue actually acts as a shock absorber, which is very fascinating, I think.
It is. If there is a sort of a creator, how do you think they came up with that? I mean, that's extraordinary.
Well, I mean, I can come up with some pretty extraordinary things myself. So, if there is an all-powerful... But then again, I do have reference material, so...
Yeah, but, this creature needs to peck at the wood to get its food. I know. Let's give it a long tongue so it can stick it in the hole and get the food. Now, but how do we
stop it from concussing itself?
I know the tongue wraps around the back of its brain.
It does. It's isn't nature wonderful? Also scary, but also wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we go. Okay. Again, Shalace, my dear John Deere retractor. Yes. It's crazy how Trainz trying to break my root so much. What do you mean? Why is it trying to break your root? What issues have you run into? Shoebill's spine can be seen poking through the mouth. Yes.
Oh.
Exactly. Because actually, the shoebills, they have a because they have this sack at the bottom of their jaw, because they scoop up the water with fish in it. When they have this long neck, if they put their head back and open their mouth, because it's just a bit of skin hanging there, the throat actually pushes the skin, the sack out. You know what that is.
Hang on.
That image.
Hang on, just give me a sec.
Sure.
Yeah, that it looks like something from a horror film.
It does a bit. Do you want to know what that picture is?
Like with the non-pupilled eyes as well.
Yeah, because it's probably yawning.
Oh.
Isn't that just the perfect picture to fall asleep to?
Oh. Yes, wonderful.
Right, I want some ferns in this sort of edge of the pasture. So I'm just gonna place them. I'm also going to add a bit of a darker texture underneath them. A bit more like this. Sorry, says Kangafango. No, don't be sorry. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good for you.
And by the way, I know what that looks like. I didn't even look. I didn't even have to look at the picture.
That is.
Oh, this texture fits quite well underneath the ferns.
Like from the diagram at the bottom, like you don't expect it to look. You don't expect it to look as bad as it does from the. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I might cut out because my battery's running low. I'm just quickly putting it on charge.
Oh well, that's okay. I might also put some grass underneath this bit. I kind of have to look at it with the shadows a bit.
There we go.
Great. Right. I really don't want to have the shadow, the grass plants there, but the textures don't have that high of a resolution, so. Actually, from this angle it looks quite good, but from this angle let me just turn on shadows a little bit, which means I'll have to.
Quite like Trainz must be quite relaxing to play.
When it's working, it is. When you run into either issues with the AI that don't make sense, or when assets just break, or when things randomly become third party, then it can be quite aggravating. However, most of the time it is quite relaxing.
It's the kind of game where there's no really, because it's the kind of game where there's no real sort of there's no real objectives, no real punishments for getting stuff wrong.
Test. No, you can't hear me. 1 second. Hello, can you hear me again? Yes?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Good. Yeah, well, in terms of objectives, it depends. If you're building a route, then sure, yeah. You only set your own objectives. And yeah, if you wanted to, you can make it as realistic or unrealistic as you wanted. You can do whatever you want with it. If you're driving, then yes, you are usually given objectives. Wait. All right, the shadows are there. Okay, so let's see what the. Actually, this is the wrong side. I wanted to go over here. Haha. Do the shadows work? I may not have turned the shadows up high enough.
First of all, Kango says, I hope it didn't cause too much discomfort. Thank you for travelling with a great lesson where... Wait, that's not right. Disregard the last part. Cheney says, well, sometimes when and presumably when I load my route up, some part of the track may be invisible, but be there on the map or just be gone entirely. Kango, that is strange. Do you have any faulty assets installed?
So, I think that it's probably because of layers. When they first introduced layers, I ran into very similar issues where I built a lot of forest, then I loaded up the route, and then the forest was gone. Now, I thought it was because Trainz was broken, but as it turns out, I had placed the forest in the session. So I loaded the session and placed the forest. The thing is, when you load the route, by default, it selects the route layer, and it does not load anything that you placed on a session layer. If you load a session, then it loads, by default, it loads the, it selects the session layer, but it also loads everything you placed on the route layer. Which means if you go into a session, you just start building, then you're actually placing everything on the session layer, which means that if you then edit the route or edit a different session, that stuff won't be there. You can merge layers. So for example, if I placed a lot of stuff on the session layer, which I want to be on the root layer, I need to go into the session, go into layers, select the session layer, click on merge, and then select the layer I want to merge into. So if I did it like this now, then all of the stuff on the session layer would be moved onto the root layer. And that way you can fix some of those mistakes if you've made those kind of mistakes. There we go. Stumbling over my words a bit.
Is the session layer, is that things that can or can't be seen if you're actually playing the session?
It depends. So the way Trainz works is you've got the route itself, which is the layout, the landscape, everything like that. And then you've got sessions. Now, sessions are like scenarios, so gameplay sessions, which means, for example, trains. If in one session, if you want to have the player drive an express passenger train, then you would place, you would make a new session, place the train on that session, and then the train will only be there in that gameplay session. Because it's on the session layer. If you're going into drive when you play on it, that will all still be there. If you make another session, then at the beginning you'll only have the root layer again. So yeah. And in terms of being visible or not, you can turn layers on and off dynamically using session rules. So basically you can script it so that if you're playing a session, if you're actually driving around, layers can get turned on and off dynamically, so you can do some really quite good stuff with that, where objects appear and disappear and things like that, which is quite useful actually. Right, now what else did I want to do? Right, so this looks okay. I need some stuff back there, but I think this little bit is okay. Let's just see what it looks like down here.
Kango says, thank you for reading chat. There's no problem at all. Kango says, I need to merge my session layer into the root layer on mine. Also, the stream will be archived in case one missed anything.
Yes.
And also, Kango says to Cheney, Sharadice did do a tutorial on layers. It's on the Sharadice YouTube channel, which, and this isn't in the chat, which is linked in the Twitch page.
Yes. Thank you very much.
As is the Discord server. As is the Discord server as well, I think.
Yeah, it is. But we wouldn't want to promote anything, would we? Right. So.
People might be looking for what you give them, but if you don't tell them
yeah, exactly.
that you've got it.
Yeah. The thing is, if you're genuinely trying to help people, like for example, all of my tutorials on YouTube are, they are not monetized. I couldn't even monetize them, but even if I could, no, they are not monetized. They are an educational tool which is freely available. So you wouldn't even have to sit through ads. And yes, which means that if I do promote that, I don't get anything from that. So it's really just me offering help. But if I say, if I said, hey, I've got a tutorial series on Trainz on YouTube, maybe have a look at it, then it feels like, oh yeah, of course he's promoting his stuff, of course. That kind of reaction because of because of what self-promotion on the internet, especially in YouTube, is usually like, with all the clickbait stuff and all of that.
Yes. There's a video from a channel that I really like, and occasionally they do. It's mostly funny stuff, but it's occasionally bringing light to certain issues, certain stories, stuff that they find interesting. And the title of one of them, is "Why I Left the Channel." And when you click on it, they have an introduction. When they click on it, they go, "Made you click. Let's talk about that."
Yeah, exactly.
As far as I know, and as far as I know, it's a video on clickbait.
Yeah. I mean, that is a clever way of doing it, because if you just said talking about clickbait, then people are probably going to be a bit annoyed because, oh, clickbait, that's such an annoying thing. Why, I don't want to spend my time with that. Or maybe they're like, oh, I would never get clickbaited. But if they say why I left the channel, then they did get clickbaited, and then they're kind of trapped because, well, they kind of can't hide the fact that they would get clickbaited because they have been. So it's like gotcha, that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's like it's not. See, I don't think there's anything wrong with the clickbait title as long as it delivers.
Well, is it really clickbait then? Because as far as I know, clickbait is if you want to bait people with an interesting thing to click on it, but then you don't actually get the thing, as in real bait. Because like fishing bait, there's a little fly or worm or something like that on the hook, so the fish gets baited. It wants the worm, bites onto it, but it doesn't actually get the worm. Instead, it gets skewered through the top of its mouth and then pulled out of the water, where it then suffocates. So bait.
But I think in terms of a clickbait title, I think they mean in sort of terms of it's a title that sounds like clickbait. And it sounds like, oh, they're not going to deliver, what the title says they're going to deliver, what they're going to deliver. And so when they do, it's a pleasant surprise.
Well, yeah, but if it doesn't sound like they're going to deliver, then why would anybody click on it in the first place?
Well, that's what clickbait sort of is it? It sort of draws you in.
Yes, but the thing is
that
at
least someone who's accustomed to clickbait would think, oh, they're not going to deliver on what the title says they are.
Yeah, but my question is this: if someone is already accustomed to clickbait, if they see the title and they think, oh, they're not going to deliver, why would they click on it in the first place, given that they're already accustomed to people not delivering on things like that?
They wouldn't, but people who aren't accustomed to clickbait would.
I see.
You bring up an interesting flaw in that, yeah.
Yes, I like it. It's made of wood. Well, actually, this one isn't. It's made of plastic, but it came with the house.
Oh god. I was thinking for a second. Wait, what? And then, oh dear.
Yeah. The light came on in your brain.
Yes. It's dim, but it does exist.
Aww.
God.
Right, I'm just placing a few boulders here because I think that makes this little area look a bit more interesting. That one maybe not, because that looks cut off. That's too big. Maybe try 6 meter one. No, that one.
Imagine. I don't know why, but I sort of imagine like a city skyline as a backdrop for this area of the room.
Oh. I mean, that's not how I pictured it. It might fit quite well. The thing is, I want there to be more of a distinction between the countryside and the city. So, just to give more contrast. Because
well, yeah, but if it's close enough that you can see it in the distance, and
yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. However, in Trainz, at least in my settings, I've set the render distance quite low for performance reasons. So, yeah, like for example, back there, you can just about see the forests, but if I go a bit further back like this, you can see that in the distance, the field's boundaries start to disappear. Like that.
Hang on, I'll let the stream catch up. I'll just let the stream catch up.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, that is about the render distance I've got it set to at the moment for performance reasons. And I do want there to be another farm, another grain farm, sort of about back there somewhere. Maybe another few miles, and then another few miles after that, and then the city. Because I do want a good stretch of main line where the speed limit is quite high, like 55 miles an hour at the moment. Like for example, if we look at the map, the grain farm I have at the moment is actually, is that it? Yeah, that is it. So it is right there. So let me zoom in a bit. The grain farm I have at the moment is here. And the main line continues down here to the yard. Then I want to continue down to about there. Then have another grain farm over here. Then continue down a bit more. Then go to about here-ish maybe, where the city's limit starts. So this bit. Then here the city limit starts, which means I'm gonna have like industry, buildings, suburbs, and then we'll just get into taller buildings where the terminus is going to be. Nope, wrong button. There we go. Let me chat.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, sure. Alright. That's true, but if you're so oversaturated with people on YouTube promoting their things, even if it's genuine, it can be regarded negatively by people. Exactly. What should I said? Should I yeah, place some boulders there. I did. Between the ferns would look good. Yay! Oh, that was very musical of you, Kangafango. Boulder time! Floors it. So you mean rounding off downwards? So is that what you mean by flooring it? Shadows. Are there menhirs on the DLS? Not sure if it would fit in with the US. US. There are standing stones. I do think I have some of them actually. Man standing, small barrel standing, nope. Kangaroo standing. Hello.
Did you finish reading chat?
Almost. I'm searching for an asset. I do have menhirs. I have this asset here. These ones I've got. I've also got a stone circle, I believe. Yeah, I've got stone circle. I've got this one. I've got this one. But they wouldn't fit in the US because that is a Neolithic British era age thing. Not British, European. Sorry, the standing stones. I'm thinking like Stonehenge and some other stone circles in Dartmoor and in the Peak District and further north as well. A lot of them. Now, as for the track plan here, do I want to run around track there? Yes or no? So let's see. Pick up some empties, push them in there, load up, push them in there, then actually push them there, run around, go there, go back, go down. No, because I want the Y to be used for turning around, so I'm actually just going to add a bit more track, so there's a bit more space to load stuff up. But I am not going to add a run around track. Also, how are you, Chani? Eh? Who screamed? Was that the door? Probably. Just the door, don't worry. Ah, alright, I thought it was. A ghost! Nah. Yeah, that's good. Actually, I might just have this curved down like this. Just because it's unusual, that might be quite funny. Or more interesting, more. Let's get one of the bumpers. Nice. So there's nice stone circles. Do you think the circle is round though? I think stone 6 should move a bit to the right. Round enough. I think it is round enough because his stone circles have been, a lot of them have been rearranged a lot. Like for example, Mr. W. Are you there?
Yes.
Did you know that Stonehenge was originally a lot of the stone blocks were laying down and diagonal, and in the 1920s it was reconstructed the way that they believed it probably looked, like the way it looked right to them. Yeah? Which means they got a lot of the stone blocks and stacked them over on top of each other, because only some of them were over top, forming those T's on top, those little roofs. A lot of those were actually laying down. Yeah.
I knew that it used to be a lot bigger. I didn't know they actually moved it.
They moved a lot of the stone blocks, and there may be a picture, a photograph of it before, but the thing is, there was basically no archaeology done on the way it was before, when it was the way it was before. There is a drawing, a sketch of what it looked like originally, but that's just about it, really.
Blimey.
Yeah, a lot of archaeology has been lost because of that, and that is not unique to Stonehenge. That is indicative of a lot of these sort of situations. Right, so what are you up to at the moment?
Me?
Yes?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Want to read chat?
Sure.
Where did you get to? Nice stone circles. Do you think the circle is round, though? I think stone 6 should move a bit to the right. Danny, I have to use the delete missing assets tool to fix that part. And now the stone circle looks a bit like an egg. Stones 10 through 12 should move outwards a bit. Like that. Stop. Ow. Now we have achieved a circle.
You're beginning to sound like Erin there.
Like who? Erin?
Erin Walcon. You know, Erin.
That's someone I know.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was like a pop culture.
No, someone you know. Well, with a circle.
You mean like a... Ah.
Now you get it, yes.
was gonna say, what did my accent change a bit? But no, I get it now.
Let's just add a few more small stones, like really small ones, like just peppered throughout the field. That's a word that I rarely use, peppered. Might also need to add a few more ferns. Not a few more multiple industries new, thank you. One is enough. Right. Mr. W, have you seen Jurassic Park?
I haven't. No.
Oh, it's a great film. That is what inspired my love of dinosaurs and archaeology, well, paleontology, and then through that archaeology.
How accurate is it?
You mean the representations of the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Well, not that accurate. It is definitely it looks realistic, like the dinosaurs look realistic, but the representations are quite outdated. But however, it does make sense in universe, because in the universe they have because they didn't get complete genomes for the dinosaurs, they had to substitute parts of its genes with other DNA, like for example frog DNA, which explains, for example, why the raptors don't have feathers. So something like that. Also the velociraptors, the actual velociraptor creature that lived in Mongolia was quite small, only about knee height, a bit further. Well, yeah, about knee height, about that big. The velociraptors from Jurassic Park are actually based on another dinosaur called Deinonychus. Yes, Deinonychus, which has this,
I've heard of that.
Yeah, so it has not Dionysus, the Greek god, but Deinonychus.
Right.
Yeah, so it's got they've basically took the size and body plan of Deinonychus and given it the name Velociraptor, because they thought that Velociraptor sounded more threatening, more fear-inducing, like Velociraptor. Oh, velocity! It has to do with velocity. Is it so fast? Spoiler: yes, they are fast, but yes, the actual Velociraptor was quite small. Also, there are some other things, like for example,
and is that an inaccuracy that is actually addressed in film, or is that something that the community has told themselves to make up the inaccuracy?
Well, the thing is that it is said in the films that they are substituting frog DNA along with a lot of other stuff, which actually is one of the major points in the film, because that leads to some issues. And it may have been addressed in the reboot, in the Jurassic World films. However, I don't remember 100%. It may have been addressed, but it makes perfect sense.
Did they know at the time that Jurassic Park was released? They actually know that dinosaurs look more like birds than what people perceive them to look like.
There had been discoveries that dinosaurs had feathers, but the extent to just how many dinosaurs had feathers wasn't known. So, yeah. Like, for example, T-Rex, at least partially, was feathered, most likely.
They actually had quite big arms. Just they weren't big when compared to its body.
Yeah, exactly. That is another thing. If you want to see a dinosaur which truly has tiny arms, look up Carnotaurus, which snap Kangafango snap. Let me
Yeah.
let me read.
I'm gonna do that now.
Right, let me read chat. Oh, Emma, that was totally unintentional.
You said it was called Carnosaurus.
Carnotaurus. What are you talking about? I've never used the word peppered before. Shredis realizes he's getting slightly tired. Yeah, I am a bit tired. Also, Shredis, hey, Miss W, have you seen Jurassic Park? Oh, so you mean to make me awake again? That would be clever. Utah raptors were larger. Yes, Utah raptors were up to 7 meters long, I believe. Deinonychus. Not Deinocheirus. Deinonychus, right? Deinocheirus was the fly, the pterosaur. Didn't I say Deinonychus? Deinocheirus? I don't know. Or Deinosuchus. That's a prehistoric crocodile. Deinocheirus. Save. Thanks. Carnotaurus, for one, most likely didn't have feathers, if at all. Only on the wings or on the tip of its tail. Well, it didn't have wings. But yeah, some dinosaurs definitely did not have feathers. It's not like every dinosaur had feathers, but a lot of dinosaurs did have feathers. Snap, rightio. Mr. W, Carnotaurus was the one that I had modeled and put into OMSI 2, shown in my last stream, yes. Deinonychus. Yes, Deinonychus. What did I say originally? Didn't I say Deinonychus? Or did I say Deinonychus?
You did, yeah.
Did I say
Deinonychus?
I mean, I said both.
Deinonychus.
I don't remember. If you're watching this as an archive, you can let me know if you want to, if you absolutely want to. It does not matter to me. Arms, not wings. XD, imagine that. A winged Carnotaurus. Shredis, I think you were right before. Did you look up the picture of Carnotaurus?
I did, yeah. I can see what you mean, yeah. It does look quite a bit like T-Rex. But yeah, I can see
I meant
what
the
you
arms.
mean by...
Did you see that the arms are tiny?
Yeah, the arms. I can see what you mean by small arms.
Actually, it is quite different than T-Rex, if you really look at it. If you compare the two.
To a...
layman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it had like a horned... Not horned, but like a ridged head. Is that the right word?
Well, it did have horns. It does have horns. Carnotaurus does have horns. But yeah, that's not just the thing. It's just the whole body posture, the shape of the skull. For example, the amount of fingers it has, the shape of the legs. Alone, because T-Rex has such a massive skull, so heavy, the tail has to balance that out. So it's, if you actually compare the two, also the shape of the neck, if you compare the two, they're actually quite different. Also, if you think the dinosaurs with feathers don't look scary, there are some pictures that really make them look scary.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Let me see if I can find.
Do you know about hang on, I'll keep reading chat while you're doing that. I just wanted to say that it wasn't any of the other ones. Sorry for the confusion. Have you heard about? Because I think there used to be a show on. I think there used to be a show. I can't remember what it was called, but it was about the dinosaurs. And do you know about a Predator X?
Do you mean the water-based one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, this is a photo on Pinterest I found.
Yeah.
Just look at that. Tell me that does not look scary.
I'll wait for the thing to catch up.
If you imagine this, the size of a... Basically, this is a T-Rex. If you imagine being the size, going up, not even going up to this thing, this creature's knee, your head height.
It doesn't even look feathered.
Oh, I think it does, but yeah. Here's a picture from... Here's a picture from... I know where. I think this is from Saurian, isn't it? Yeah, it does...
Yeah, that is not clever.
Yeah. Or this one.
Oh,
if you look at
wow.
if you look at this one, like this, tell me that. I mean, people said that dinosaurs, the feathers make them look less scary. To me, feathers make them look more real because I can relate them to living creatures more, which means that it just feels more real to me.
You wouldn't want one coming at you, would you?
No.
I've looked at that picture, Kango, and oh yeah, like that's really small arms.
Yeah, it is. It does have really small arms. I just wanted to say that it wasn't any of the other ones. Sorry for the confusion. Running Carnotaurus. Yes, sorry, and this is the Isle. Pretty old concept art, as far as I know. Yeah. Also, there's a video on YouTube, I think it's titled, What T-Rex Actually Sounded Like. It's not... It is... what T-Rex may have sounded like more. But it's really very interesting, because they... they did a lot of interesting stuff with that. And in that, he also shows some pictures, or, well, some illustrations, some artists' interpretations of a T-Rex with feathers. And there are some truly terrifying pictures, well, not pictures, paintings in that of T-Rex. So if you want to see some good paintings of a T-Rex, then have a look at that.
I have already had my fill of things that look weird today.
Yeah. And then it's even funnier if you think about it that birds are technically dinosaurs. So that shoebill you saw, that weird shoebill, that you saw a weird dinosaur. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was called, but I think the largest dinosaur that existed, I think it was a herbivore.
Yeah.
And it was so large that it created small sinkholes when it stepped.
Yeah. Was it maybe Saurotitan, Apatosaurus, Puertosaurus? Oh, no, that's not the largest one. Argentinosaurus is a very large one.
Might have been Apatosaurus. Might have been that one. The first one doesn't ring any bells with me.
Also, here's an interesting thing. Have you heard of Brontosaurus?
Oh, yeah.
The name Brontosaurus.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I think I've told you this before. The name Brontosaurus, translated into English, means thunder lizard.
Thunder lizard.
Yes, I did tell you before.
Yeah. I think I know that from because I'm a big fan of Greek mythology, and
so am I, by the way.
And I think there are two. There were two beings who I think helped Zeus, called Brontes. I think he was he was the thunder. And he goes on to say the Brontosaurus or thunder lizard got his name from Brontes. Novelist sisters from Yorkshire didn't. I'm pretty sure. Quite nice. The Bronte sisters were two novelist sisters from Yorkshire, and the brother Branwell died standing up.
A lot of people died
leaning
standing
on the
up.
Yeah, but died naturally standing up, leaning on the mantelpiece after lunch. If I remember correctly.
Well, that is certainly one way of doing it.
One way to go.
Yeah. Vestigial arms. Yes. That video, they recreated it based on recent cranial discoveries, I believe. Also, Carnotaurus caudal ribs were in a V shape rather than the traditional T shape, meaning that its tail was rather stiff, and while its caudofemoralis, if I'm saying that right, muscle enabled it to run very fast. It most likely couldn't run very well. So, like a lot of fast trains then. Haha. Pulling it back to the actual subject at hand.
What's the study of dinosaurs?
It falls under paleontology.
Paleontology.
Well, yeah. It depends. If you mean birds, then it's ornithology. I'm not sure if there is a dedicated study of dinosaurs or if it's just paleontology, but it is definitely a part of paleontology. Sorry, a bit tired. You know, it's quite straining to run a role-playing game, to be the GM.
I can imagine, especially if you're the if you're the DM, especially.
Yeah. Especially with this group.
Yeah.
Uh,
Though to be fair, the most difficult one wasn't there, or the one who gets himself into the most trouble.
True. The prehistoric bus.
We actually do have some other people coming into the roleplay Discord server.
Yes, I know. Paleontology. Gallimimus is very similar to an ostrich, isn't it? Yes, it is. Right, let me just... I'm just going to place a few of these boulders and move them into the ground to kind of create this more like rock plate look. Alright, as for realism in Jurassic Park... Sorry, we got sidetracked a bit.
Well, you basically explained it.
Well, that's one instance. In some instances, well, in really one instance, they really just make stuff up, which is with the Dilophosaurus. Because the actual Dilophosaurus was very large, like really quite large. Definitely taller. I mean, a human wouldn't come up to its shoulder height. Really quite large. And it was just a normal carnivore. In Jurassic Park, they made it so that Dilophosaurus has those frills that it can extend, like what are they called? In Australia, something dragon.
A lizard.
Those lizards.
Bearded dragon.
What are they called?
Dragon.
Something.
I think they are bearded dragons.
Bearded dragons, yes, bearded. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, they gave that, which, I mean, there is no evidence against it, but there's also no evidence for it. Like with a lot of actual modern scientific things. However, yeah, they gave it that, and they also gave it the ability to spit acid, which again, there is no basis in paleontology for that. However, these creatures in Jurassic Park, even though they are based on dinosaurs, they are more monster. They are movie monsters. They are not really displayed as animals most of the time. They are shown as movie monsters. And given the genetic manipulations that went into creating them in franchise and things like that, it honestly doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. I very much enjoy Jurassic Park, especially because, I mean, if it was like a show where, like, for example, what is it? Prehistoric... what is the show? BBC's show with Nigel Marven. With Nigel Marven, that show where they go back in time to rescue dinosaurs and put them into a preserve. What is that show called? It's not Prehistoric Park, is it? Is it?
I wouldn't know, I'm afraid. Walking with Dinosaurs, can I suggest?
It's based on the same series. They've reused some of the models, but not that. Yeah, the other one. There's also Walking with Monsters, but that's also not it. Is it Prehistoric Park?
I wouldn't know.
No, it is Prehistoric Park. Yeah. Huh. It is called Prehistoric Park.
Yeah.
Right. So Prehistoric Park, not Walking with Beasts, no. Although he did also play a large part in Walking with Beasts and others, things like that. But in, like, for example, Prehistoric Park it's a BBC show. I've not actually seen it, but I've seen bits of it. And I've read descriptions. It is basically this wildlife preserve in Africa have this time gateway. They just have it, and so they want to save species from extinction, but they want to save extinct species from extinction. So they use the time gateway to go through with a jeep, mostly 1 or 2 jeeps, I think, and they go back in time and then they save creatures moments before they were about to die. Yeah, most of the time they lure them through the portal so that they come back to the present, and then they have them in this wildlife preserve. This huge open area stuff. They've got T-Rex, they've got Triceratops, they've got also creatures from it's not just dinosaurs, it's creatures from the Carboniferous as well, for example. So they've got Meganeura, which is a giant dragonfly that existed a long, long time ago. They've got what's it called? Oh, something Pleura? Arthropleura, yes. A huge centipede, 4-meter long centipede. Also about this wide, actually. About this wide. Huge thing, if you want to look at it. And they then have them in their wildlife preserve. Now, if in a show like that, if there are factual inaccuracies, like deliberate factual inaccuracies, then that would really bother me, because they're presenting it as a documentary, essentially. Like, of course, new discoveries are made, and then if something new is discovered and an old thing just doesn't have that because it wasn't discovered back then that's okay too, because, well, they did the best they could. But again, in Jurassic Park, where they don't claim that they're realistic dinosaurs, they are movie monsters, even in the film, that's also fine. But yeah, if they made a documentary-esque thing, and they have the animals in it portrayed in a very unrealistic way, even though we know it's unrealistic, then that would bother me. And there are actually some documentaries that do that, and where it does bother me, but luckily it's quite rare.
Because with Jurassic Park, I suppose you've at least got the escape of with them being essentially genetically modified and not having pure dinosaur DNA.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly it. Right. Yeah. Also, one of the first films that had dinosaurs in it, that was actually a popular film, was actually the original King Kong.
Really?
Yeah. On Kong Island, they had dinosaurs, and they had, I think, a T-Rex fighting a Brontosaurus, where the Brontosaurus was, like, the neck was, like, it was stop-motion animation. So, where the Brontosaurus' neck was kind of, like, moving like a snake and then darting forward and biting and tearing at each other. Like, they were presented like these huge, clumsy, lumbering, stupid lizards, which is actually the view of the time, because actually in Victorian times, when dinosaurs were first scientifically documented, they basically thought that every dinosaur was just a huge Komodo dragon with weird features, essentially. Oh, sorry. That's strange. Huh. That is strange. Oh, never mind. I thought I felt something brushing up against my arm, but it was probably just a hair. Or it was Ghost Lady, but I doubt it was. Anyway. Yes, so... right, in Victorian times, they basically thought that dinosaurs or other prehistoric reptiles were basically huge Komodo dragons. Like, for example, Iguanodon was one of the first species discovered and documented. And if you look up... actually, if you... you know Crystal Palace? Do you know Crystal Palace?
So?
In London. There was actually a glass exhibition house there, a huge one, actually two, but never mind. In the garden, the actual thing burned down. It's no longer there, but the Crystal Palace burned down, a long time ago. But they had concrete dinosaur statues there, and they're still there. So if you actually look up what Iguanodon... If you look up Crystal Palace Iguanodon, or Victorian Iguanodon, maybe, then you can see what I mean. So, actually, I can look it up so that people on stream can see it as well. Right. I think those are too many. Those are definitely too many foxgloves. I know some people are going to be sad to see some of them go, but I want them to remain special, so I'm not going to have that many. This is a better number of them. Yes. Let me save. Let me show you. If I do Victorian Iguanodon. Hopefully I spelled it right. Right. So this picture here is what the Victorians, when Iguanodon was first discovered, thought that Iguanodon looked like. Yeah? Do you see the photo?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah? And what Iguanodon... what we now think Iguanodon looks like... Not Victorian. I deleted the wrong word. I just ended up searching for Victorian. Iguanodon. There we go.
There we go. And on the stream is...
yeah, so what we now think Iguanodon looks like is more like this. So, quite a big difference, actually. This photo is from the Pathfinder SRD. The D20 Pathfinder SRD. Everything leads back to Pathfinder eventually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
complaining about it.
So that is just one example of it. So yeah, and then this Victorian idea of dinosaurs being these slow, stupid, lumbering lizards, cold-blooded, of course, was still very much the norm when King Kong was made, and basically right up until Jurassic Park was made. There may have been one or two other exceptions where dinosaurs were represented in a more realistic way, but for example, T-Rex, up until the 80s or 90s, around there, I think. Actually, 80s or 90s? It would have been, yeah. Although... I'm not quite sure. But in films, at least. In films, up until Jurassic Park, dinosaurs were almost always represented as, like for example, T-Rex, as being more of an upright walking dinosaur. Like it had its head up high with its spine at the beginning like almost vertical, and then having a hump where its back is, and then the tail dragging along on the floor, on the ground. Which again goes back to this lumbering stupid giant idea, yeah? However, Jurassic Park changed that. Even though the dinosaurs aren't that realistic in modern standards, like for example feathers or sizes, things like that, the basic representation of the dinosaurs was, for the time, very realistic. In Jurassic Park, for the first time in movies that I know of, dinosaurs were represented as being more animal-like, as being fast and agile and clever, and the basically exact opposite. T-Rex had more of a horizontal body posture, not the upright posture, but more like a reptile that walks on two legs, with more like a crocodile in a way, with the body more horizontal. Yes, the head was raised up a bit higher, but that's realistic. It's a more horizontal body plan, which then makes them look so much more realistic. And the velociraptors, the way they are portrayed, because actually real life raptors, dinosaurs, along with birds, there is evidence of them having quite clever, especially with the close relation they have with birds. So, like in Jurassic Park, there is, when we first get introduced to the velociraptors, actually, no, we get introduced at the very beginning where it eats a guy, one of them. So, in the very first scene of the film, we see a dinosaur. We see the velociraptor in the cage, concrete everywhere, steel reinforcements, people with guns, and we can only see bits of it, like light shining in through the bars, we can hear it. And then when they open the rear door, it's on rails, they open the rear door of the cage to let the velociraptor into the holding area. And the velociraptor knows that the door is now open on the other side. But instead of it going into its holding area, it rams the back side of the cage, pushing it back along the rails, opening up the area where the door has just been opened. It's trying to escape. The very first scene in the film is a dinosaur trying to escape, a dinosaur being clever. Yeah? So from the very beginning, Jurassic Park sets itself apart from other representations of dinosaurs in films. Yeah? And of course it eats someone. People with guns are there, they try to tase it, they poke the tasing rods in, but no, it eats someone. Yeah? Then the next time we see dinosaurs, we see the brachiosaurs, we see those huge sauropods, we see herds of herbivores, we see them as animals, we see them flocking, we see them drinking from a lake. We see them as animals then, yeah? Of course, partially CGI, but when we're up close, all animatronics, so it looks realistic, yeah? And then we get so much build-up, like for example, when they start the tour, when they're going past the Dilophosaurus paddock, the tour vehicle, because the tour cars are on rails without a driver. They're remotely controlled. So they come to the Dilophosaurus paddock, and of course everybody looks over into the fence, because they're driving along the fence. And it's just jungle. There are no dinosaurs there. But you know they're in there. And that, again, makes the dinosaurs feel more realistic, more clever. They're not some lumbering, dumb animal. Well, not lumbering, dumb creatures that are they don't care if they're seen or not. No, these are animals. These are predators. They're trying to be stealthy. They're hiding in the jungle. Yeah? They don't bend to the will of humans. That is, again, one of the first scene is you can't control these dinosaurs. A man dies in the beginning. Then we see the majesty of them. So we see the beauty of them. They're not just monsters, they are beautiful. Yeah? The next time is well actually when they start, actually was that before or after? No, it must have been before. Yeah, actually we see, alright, with the velociraptors, there is the feeding scene where there's this little cage area. You can't look into it, but there's this little cage where they lower a cow down with a crane and feeding the raptors. You can hear the sounds, you can see the tops of palm trees shaking underneath, and then they pull out the tattered remains of the harness that was holding the cow. Yeah. Again, showing that these animals are not slow, lumbering, clumsy. They are fast and they are dangerous. Yeah. And then with the velociraptor scene, no, sorry, the Dilophosaurus, when they're going past the Dilophosaurus paddock. The thing is, they reinforce the fact that the dinosaurs are not under human control. There's a tour there. You want people to see the dinosaurs. The recorded voice in the tour vehicle says, if you look to your right, you will see the Dilophosaurus paddock. And then something about the Dilophosaurus being predators and things like that. You look over, there's nothing there. You can't control them. You can't make them appear at your whim. Yeah? And if you think about it, Jurassic Park as a whole is very... I haven't read the book. I haven't read the books. But the films, well, mostly 1 and 2. 3 is good as well, but there are some things about 3 that could have been better. But anyway, 1 and 2 mostly are very cleverly made. And it's clear, I mean, Steven Spielberg directed them, so, yeah. So, even though the actual dinosaurs themselves aren't that paleontologically accurate, even for the time, they don't need to be. And yeah, if you get a chance to see Jurassic Park, I would of course strongly suggest that. But then again, after what I've just said about the film, it would be strange if I didn't.
Yeah.
If I said, well, if you get a chance to watch Jurassic Park, well, don't bother. That wouldn't really fit with it. Anyway, yes. Let me read chat. Let me pause.
You got a lot.
There is a lot. I've kind of forgot about reading chat. Oh no, there's not that. There's a bit of it. No, there's not that much. Save. Also, Miss W, have you ever heard of the dinosaur game The Isle? Have you?
I haven't, no, but it sounds cool.
It is. They're at the moment reworking the entire game, so it's still very much work in progress. They've recoded the game a while ago, and there's still... Basically, people wanted the recode to be released, so they released it, but it really wasn't in a state to be released, and now they are. But they are constantly working on it, improving it, adding stuff into it. It is a development build at the moment, but it is still a very good game. Yeah. Sure it is. InGen could have just injected bearded dragon DNA into the thing. Maybe they did. That's the thing, they could have. The Dilophosaurus in Jurassic Park could literally be like 10% bearded dragon DNA. It could be. Sure it is. Walking with Dinosaurs? Nope. Alright, the other one. I think so. Prehistoric Park? Yes. Walking with Beasts? Not monsters. Walking with Beasts is one, and something with monsters was also one. Was it Prehistoric Monsters? One of them had monsters in the title, I don't remember. In it, Meganeura from the Carboniferous? Yes, Carboniferous. Incidentally, the Carboniferous period, there was a globe-spanning forest, which is where we get our coal from. That forest, back then, the bacteria, which now, and small mites and things like that, which now process trees after they've died and turn them back into soil, didn't exist back then. At least that's the most common theory. So that entire globe-spanning forest, which has existed for millions of years back then, when the trees died, when that forest died, it didn't decompose. So instead it just got buried and got compressed over hundreds of millions of years, which is where we get our coal reserves from. Which is why incidentally it's called the Carboniferous, because there's a lot of carbon in that coal. So that's where we get coal from. Yes. So I'm just driving this little bit now. Actually, no, I'm reading. Check now. Sorry. Yay, I'm bunched up now. Congratulations. I think the latest, or second latest, King Kong also featured dinosaurs. Yes. Actually, in Peter Jackson's King Kong, they actually have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I've got the game. If the film is about the game,
they did a clever thing there, because the dinosaurs on Skull Island, they changed them, they evolved them further. They speculated how in the last 64 million years, if dinosaurs had not gone extinct on that island, how might they have evolved? So, because in a lot of these scenarios where you've got, in a lot of fiction, where you have a sort of hidden away place where dinosaurs haven't gone extinct yet, non-avian dinosaurs, they often keep the species the same. So it's like, oh, there's a T-Rex. Oh, there's a Brachiosaurus or Brontosaurus, things like that. But the thing is, even if those creatures hadn't gone extinct 64 or 65 million years ago, they still wouldn't exist like that today, because evolution continues.
Yeah.
And yes, there are creatures that are called living fossils, like for example, coelacanth is always a good one, or horseshoe crabs, that have existed for tens of millions of years and basically look the same as they have back then. Although the term
crocodiles.
Yeah, crocodiles as well. But the term turtles as well, of course. But the term living fossil is a bit deceiving, because it implies that they haven't changed in all of that time. The thing is, they have, of course they have. Evolution is still taking place, but their body plan was just so perfected to the environment in which they existed, and the environment hasn't changed a lot, so there's really no reason for their body plan to change as much as other animals. So living fossils are actually still, they actually do still, of course, undergo evolution. It's just evolution doesn't really change that much about them, because they're perfect for the environment that they've got the body for. So, yeah, but in a lot of fiction where it's like, oh, look, dinosaurs haven't gone extinct here, like, for example, the original King Kong or Land of the Lost or things like that, films like that, they often fall into this trap where the dinosaurs haven't changed. But in Peter Jackson's King Kong, they didn't. They actually made the dinosaurs, they evolved them. They speculatively evolved them, so yeah. Shredis, remember Crystal Palace's Iguanodon? Exactly, yeah, I showed that. Shredis, it was a Compsognathus. Look out, here they come! Oh, you mean the thing that I felt on my arm? Oh, you're right, it was a Compsognathus. Oh, there they are.
Lady.
Cue Jurassic Park 2 opening. Snap! 2 to Crystal Palace. I know. Sad to see him go? Yep. I'm present. I am present. Okay. XD, ha. I saw it before you pressed return. Good. Shadows, show us the Iguanodon hands. Oh, well, the Iguanodon's hands, they basically have a thumb spike. So they've got the normal, they've got kind of fingers, but they've got a spike, a thumb spike, basically. It's basically what you think it would. It's basically what you think it would look like.
I've seen the picture.
Oh right, quite human-like. Here, Right. And do you like the picture?
Yeah. It shows the point. It shows it really good. Yeah.
Nice. Let me just look at it then as well. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hold on, let me open up the thing again. There we go. Right. And in Jurassic Park, they used animatronics. Yes, they have, which is definitely... They used animatronics if they could... If it was a possibility. Like, for example, if there's a scene where the T-Rex is chasing a car, then they used CGI, because you can't really do that with animatronics. They would have to do it stop motion animation, but that wouldn't work well.
Oh, yeah.
But in scenes where the T-Rex is chewing on a car, where it's not running around, where there are scenes like that, exactly like that, there they used animatronics. So literally, if they could possibly use animatronics, they did it, because it just looks better. Even like in Jurassic World 2015 movie, the Jurassic Park reboot, they used either exclusively CGI or almost exclusively CGI. And you can tell that in a lot of scenes, the dinosaurs' movements just look too smooth. Like, I would say that the special effects in the original Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3 look so much more better. So much more better, yes. Redundancy for the win. Than in Jurassic World. But yes. Right. Okay. Shadows, remember the Velociraptor kitchen scene? Of course I do. There we go. Also, here are 2 facts. The Jurassic Park and the Lost World books were far more sinister and gruesome than the movie versions. Yes, that is true.
Doesn't surprise me.
I haven't read the books. However, I do know a bit about them. Right. I think there's too little scrap here. I need to place a little bit of scrap here. Let me just look for...
Hang on, where were you up to?
The gruesome. The Jurassic Park and the Lost World books were far more sinister and gruesome than the movie versions. It's a bit underneath Fake One thing.
Fact 2, the Lost World even featured Carnotauruses that had a chameleon-like ability, but they cut it from the film.
Yes.
Bonus fact, which I didn't think of before, Jurassic Park's 3 Ceratosaurus scene was meant to have featured Carnotaurus instead, but since Disney's dinosaur movie already used that dinosaur, they used Ceratosaurus instead.
Ceratosaurus.
And bonus fact 2, Carnotaurus did appear, albeit briefly, in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, it wouldn't fit. Hang on. Nautilus and snails also lived for quite a while. Prepare for thumbnail tatement. Sad to see the foxgloves go. Behind the scenes vid of JP showcasing the Vex animatronic. Redundancy for the win. What win? I haven't read them either. I've heard excerpts from YouTube vids. There we go.
Thank you very much. I mean, the win of winning the argument, if you can call it that. I don't know.
Do you know about Godzilla versus Kong?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
I've heard of it as well, but apparently there is lore to it.
Oh,
For something like that, you don't really expect lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently there is. Like in one of the creatures on Skull Island, at least.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know what I'm missing. I'm missing barrels. Of course I'm missing barrels.
More scrap.
Yes. I think I'm just going to place a few barrels down over there. And over here.
But yeah, for the game, Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Hmm.
Um, one of the enemies is like that humanoid wing thing. And yes, I did see it, Kango. I've not watched it yet, but I have seen it. It's like that humanoid winged thing in the film,
Oh
and the
yes.
way it attacks is that it flies right to your face. And when you see the face on that thing, when it does that,
Hmm.
oh,
Hmm.
oh,
Are you a big fan of it?
I I haven't played it for a while, but I do really like the game. I've not. I'm. You can actually play as both Jack and Kong, um, which I'm looking forward to. But I haven't got to a bit where you can play as Kong yet. But yeah, like it's like there were bits where you have to use fire made by the natives to scare off some creatures. It's not. I mean, it's a first person shooter, but you have to be very tactical in some
I see.
in quite a few situations. PS2 game actually as well. I got it for 50p.
I've heard that the uh, reflections, the shaders for the stones when they're wet, like the rocks, they look quite good. I think.
hmm hmm
Right.
We can
So.
probably find some gameplay
Oh
online.
yeah, probably. I think that's probably a good
We have
thumbnail.
gone 1 minute over time.
Actually,
Yeah, that's
I'm
quite
going to
cute.
make this go all the way like this so that I can take the thumbnail like that. Let's just do it like this. I think that will be a good thumbnail. So let's just catch a little bit on chat. Do you see the
There's
video?
not a
Right.
lot.
All right. Cue Wizard of Oz parachuting monkeys theme. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Although they're not parachuting monkeys. Alright, Shut Eyes. Is that rock too close to that rock? Oh, track. No, it's cut away. It is. It is cut. The rock is cut away. Yeah, if you look at it, you can see the rock, the actual model is cut away a bit. So I've just placed it close to the track so that it actually looks like there's a reason for it to be cut away. Is that floating? No, good. Is the rock too close to the track? Alright, yeah. I did see that, yeah. So, with that, actually surprisingly little amount. 1 second. Yeah, a surprisingly little amount of technical issues today.
Hey, I'm done at the start, but we made up for them in the roleplay session.
Ah, that is true. Yes, that is very true. Right. So, that is the stream basically done. Unless you can think of something that I've missed. Except for the outro.
Probably not something that you're. Oh, I think I'd just like to say thank you for watching this either live or archive. It's great to see you all.
Yes. Perfectly said. Yeah. So, actually,
shout outs, of course.
Yeah, shout outs.
Kanga reminds you.
Yes. Kanga Fango.
And the stream will be archived.
Yeah. But doesn't it clip through Rolling Stock, right? No, it doesn't, I think. I need to test it, but it doesn't, I think. I think it's supposed to, right? Yay.
I read that.
The thing about clipping through?
Yes.
Sorry. My bad. I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Right. So yes, the stream indeed will be archived, as has been said multiple times today. Shoutouts. Kango Fango. He does map building in Trainz and in OMSI 2 on Sundays. He streams. He also streams driving games like truck driving simulators. Very interesting. Yes.
He's streaming tomorrow.
He is.
So look out for that.
Tomorrow.
Check out his schedule. You'll probably find him.
Yes. Or if you're in Britain, you can check out his schedule. Right. Nah, it is more of a joke. Well, half a joke. So,
yes.
Also Slovak Eagle streams. He's recently started streaming again. There was a hiatus, which is also a fun word that I only very rarely get to use. But hiatus is a fun word. He streams Trainz building as well, driving games, so Train Simulator, Transport Fever 2, that sort of thing. And yes, also have
a development.
Yeah. Now the last thing is there is a free map for Trainz. It's on the DLS. It's called Central Europe. It's still in development, but it will always be free. And it is a huge map which simulates a large part of Central Europe. Slovak Eagle is part of the Central Development Team. So is Sweater Gaming, the Branded K on Twitch. His actual name, the way it's said, is Brand, but yeah, the Branded K on Twitch. So if you like playing Trainz, which if you're watching this,
probably do,
yeah, likelihood is you do. And if you have a bit of free space on your computer, and if you own TRS-19, why not have a download? Play around on it. It's beautiful. So, yes. Thanks, I'm glad that you find my content, Erg. Shout out, buddy. Yeah, it's just because content sounds so...
Sounds very, commercial.
Yeah, it does. Like, subscribe for more content. Like this video if you want to see more content. Comment down below what content you'd like to see, but...
No, yeah. And yet that, I suppose, is like proper, like one of the proper phrases you could use. Like it's not an accurate. It's not an accurate
it's
phrase,
true.
But it just sounds like,
yeah, exactly. It sounds despicable, even though if you think about it, it is. I mean, sure. In a lot of cases, it is what you feel that it is, but in a lot of other cases, it's genuinely that the one who is making the content wants to provide the stuff that people want to see. So he needs to get some sort of feedback, in which case, it's fine. But because you're so saturated from all of the ways that which is used despicably, it's actually not that bad. Same thing. Here's a perfect analogy. The term, the term conspiracy theory. Yeah, the term conspiracy theory has so much negativity to it. If you hear the term conspiracy theory, what do you think? You think crazy people. Yeah, you think crazy people talking about crazy stuff, which is potentially dangerous. Yeah, that's what you think. But if you actually think about history, then up to modern day, there are so many actual confirmed conspiracies that got out, and a theory about a conspiracy isn't actually a bad thing. Like, because if there is any reason to think that there might be a conspiracy here, it's worth to think about, isn't it? I mean, just to think about it, that's not dangerous. And if you have a theory about how something may be, then talking about that surely isn't dangerous as well, because everybody can make up their own mind. So if you unpack the term conspiracy theory, it's actually, if you think about it, it loses that baggage of really? I mean, right? If you think about it?
Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah. The term itself has gathered a lot of toxic baggage.
Yeah.
That the term linguistically doesn't hold up to.
Exactly. Anyway.
Sorry, right, where were you?
Yeah, I was reading the last bit of chat. I am unsure of what I'll stream tomorrow. We'll see. Shout out to Mr. W too. Yes, indeed. Check out some of Mr. W's stuff. He's a writer, although he's not published yet. But if he's published, then have a look at his works.
Don't know which publisher I'm going to use either.
I mean, yes, you can always publish yourself if you want to. Yes, you'd need to do the marketing yourself, but that is an option.
Yes.
I don't stream anything. Well, technically, you do. Technically. Because you are streaming your voice. And you can say, okay, sure, that is, yeah, it is streaming, but it's not being streamed on a platform like Twitch. But, oh, actually, it is. So, congratulations, you're a streamer. Anyway, Turn Spotlight.
Turn Spotlight.
He doesn't stream yet, but still. Turn Spotlight back to Paradise. Feels so strange to say it. Content shutters. W. Bye.
Be a face.
Oh, right. I see. That makes more sense. Thanks again for the stream. Thank you very much for watching. And thanks for your voices, both of you. It's been really nice to listen to. Shades, congratulations, you're a streamer. Mr. W. That is hilarious.
It's a Twitch achievement.
Bye, thanks once more. See you tomorrow? Yes.
Yeah, on your stream.
Yeah. So, with that, 10 minutes past, I think that's a record. No, sorry, it isn't. But, yes, bye, everybody. Bye.
Yeah.